my basket of active projects, which right now is the basket where I store my active projects that are not being worked on. Slowly, sometimes I'm like, oh, this is growing really quickly. No, it's not actually growing at all. Once I get an idea I think is a good idea, I cannot leave that idea behind. I cannot stop myself. So what I've started to do is to crochet flowers. Hopefully, I think I will end up thinking this looks good enough to be my wedding bouquet, I think. Hi, welcome back to my channel if you're new here. Hi, my name is Oline and I'm a knitter from Norway, and welcome to my knitting podcast. Here I talk about all things knitting and sometimes a few other crafts as well. I talk about my current projects, finished projects, planned projects, my yarn, just anything that pops into my head while we sit here and chat. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me this week. I have once again had a really great week. I have loved everything I've been able to do this start of this year. And this week has been really fun, and I've been able to really challenge myself when it comes to creating. So overall, it's just been a great week. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk a little bit about what I'm wearing, because this week I got a new knitwear closet that is a lot more functional to my use. It's easier for me to grab the things I want to, and I also hope it's more of a protection against moths, because it actually is a closed closet, so I'm really excited about that. And as I moved my knits from the closet that I've been in to the new one, I kind of rediscovered some of my knits, and this is one of them. This is my Agnete cardigan. I made this in January of 23, so it's been 2 years almost exactly, and I love this cardigan. I've loved her ever since I finished it. It's this stunning brioche cardigan. I really love brioche. It's really fun to knit up and I really like how it looks. My gauge for this is definitely not the right, because on me this cardigan, the whole thing really is quite true to size. I have a little bit of positive ease in the body. I have absolutely no positive ease in the sleeves, but all over this has a lot less positive ease than it's supposed to. I also have not done buttons for the 2 years I've had it, because I prefer to wear it open. But my gauge for this is not right. I did not do a gauge swatch, and I'm quite happy with the fit of this. I don't have anything against tight sleeves, really. I just want my sleeve and the body to look like they match, and for this one I really think they do, since my gauge is off for both the body and the sleeves. But even though my gauge is off, I really enjoy this. I had a lot of fun knitting it up, and I love the details you can do in brioche, like these increases here. I think increases in brioche look stunning, so I want to do more brioche every time I look at my brioche sweater or cardigan. And I haven't used this for quite some time. I think I used it some in the summer because it is a lovely off-white color, but I don't use it as much as I want to, so that's my goal now, to go through my closet, look at what I actually wear and get better at wearing what I love. And I also think, even though I like to wear this open, I think it needs buttons, because I quite like to button 1 or 2, and I think I would also get more use out of it like that. So that's also on my to-do list. But for this Agnete cardigan, I used Drops Flora and Drops Kid Silk, both in off-white. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think this was one of my first times using Flora. I think it was at least my first time using Flora for something for myself. I had maybe tried it once or twice before, but this was definitely one of the first times I tried Flora, and I think this was the time that really convinced me that I love Flora. And ever since I made this, I've made so many things in Flora, and I think it's quickly gotten to the top of my list of yarns I love, and I have this to thank for that. And this as well has held up pretty well. You can definitely see it has some pills here. My sweaters tend to pill the most at the bottom of the sleeve here. But this is 2 years old, and even though I haven't used it the most this year, I have used it a lot over the duration of those 2 years, and I really think that kid silk, even though it's not the most comfortable yarn, in my opinion, mohair isn't that comfortable to wear, but it really does help with pilling. And I also think Flora and kid silk together is a really great combination when it comes to pilling. Not as great as the baby merino and Puna combination I talked about last week, but this is still a really great combination. But I think that's enough of me chatting about this. By the way, the designer for this is Petiteknit. But now we can move into what I have been doing this week, and I don't know where to start, but I think we'll just get the boring part out of the way. I have quite a few projects on my needles right now, which means that I can't get to them all, or I probably couldn't, but if I were to knit on them all, I would knit like 2 centimeters on each of them, and I quite like that as well too, some weeks to just work a little bit here and there and on everything. That's how I got here with this many projects, but lately I've been a really big fan of being like an almost monogamous knitter, so I stay very loyal to a few projects each week. But just to start off, I'll show you my basket of active projects, which right now is the basket where I store my active projects that are not being worked on. So here I have my son's Alfred sweater. I have the Synnedrakt I'm working on. I really hope to be able to work a bit more on this this week maybe. And I have my Charlie pullover, which I had really hoped to work on this week, but I haven't had the time. I still hope to be able to work on this a lot tonight because we're leaving tomorrow. Today is Thursday, so I'm podcasting one day earlier than usual because we're leaving tomorrow, and I really hope to have this as my travel whip, even though it probably should be something else, but I really hope to be able to travel with this, so I might give this some attention tonight to make that happen. But yeah, lots of different projects in here I haven't worked on. And then I have my Christmas sweater, which I've gotten a lot of suggestions to dub into a Valentine's Day sweater. I really enjoy that suggestion. So this might become a bit of both sweater. But let's see, the yarn is really tangled because I still haven't... I got loads of great suggestions as to what I could do with the tiny ball of yarn that's annoying me. I haven't got around to that yet either. I have read the suggestions, I really enjoy them, I am going to get to it. I just haven't prioritized working on this that much, but I did get in a couple of centimeters on the sleeve. I don't know how many, but it's getting there. It's just progressing really slowly right now because I am focusing on so many different things. But yeah, that's it for that. We're not going to go more into it because there isn't really much to say, so it's not that interesting. But we can move to the projects I've actually been working on, and I think we'll stay with the whips. And here I have a whip that is almost a finished object. I really hoped I would be able to finish it in time so it could be a finished object for this podcast, but I just couldn't get there in time, but almost. This is the honey bucket bag by Petiteknit. It's going to be the bag I use for my wedding, and as you can see, I've finished the bag part. Here it is. This is the bottom, still really small, but as you can see, a lot of the what's it called? Honeycomb brioche. A lot of that also lays on the bottom, which gives it a which makes it bigger. It's still not the biggest bag I've seen, but it's definitely big enough to be a purse and also a project bag, so I'm happy with this size. So finished that. Here you can see where I've turned to make the honeycomb brioche, and here you can see the honeycomb. It's a bit hard to show since it's not washed and it doesn't have lining and it's not completely done, but here's that. And then I've also made the stockinette part here where you're supposed to thread I-cord into. I'm making that I-cord. I think I'm about halfway done on the first one. You do I-cord throughout so you can pull on it and close it. I think it will be easier to show once it's actually once I'm actually able to pull on it. And also I'm going to outsource doing the lining. I think I'm going to ask either my friend, or I might ask my sister or my mother or my grandma or my aunt or something. It's, as long as I'm not doing it, I'm happy. So hopefully one of them can help me to make the lining. And I also don't know if I follow the pattern I don't know if I hit gauge, and I don't know if I follow the pattern when it came to length. So they'll also have to figure out that. But I'm really happy, and this was also really challenging because, of course, the honeycomb brioche is quite challenging. You have to remember 4 different steps, but I did very well with that. I'm really happy because the last 2 times I've done honeycomb brioche, I've either made mistakes I haven't realized were mistakes, so it doesn't look good, or I've had to frog a lot. But this time I actually got it, so I'm really happy with that. But then came the next challenging part, which was to make this. On this side it wasn't that hard because you just knit stockinette and then you started with the honeycomb brioche again, so pretty simple. I just had to read the instruction and watch a Kimi Moncombe video, but that was okay. But then came this inner part. I don't know if you can see, but here, as you can see, this does not have a double lining, but this part does, so you can thread the I-cord around, and then this is, I guess, to make it pretty. And that was much harder because you were working where there were already like stitches on hold, so it was very finicky, and I had to like work very tiny sections at a time. It did not go quickly at all, and this is also on 2.5mm needles. So it took me so long. I've been thinking for days, like, today is the day it's going to be finished, today is the day it's going to be finished, but all of this takes much longer than it looks. The bottom actually went by quite quickly, but that's also so tiny that it's almost a joke, and the honeycomb grows really slowly. Sometimes I'm like, oh, this is growing really quickly. No, it's not actually growing at all. I just think it's growing because I've been doing so many rows. But I think I've measured and it averages out to growing like 1 centimeter an hour maximum. So it does not grow quickly at all. And then I got to this part here, the stockinette part on this side, and that went by quite quickly. Then back to the honeycomb, did not go by quickly. And then I thought, okay, but in the inside I'm just going to do stockinette, so that's going to just fly by. That was the slowest thing I've done this whole project because it was so finicky, so definitely not. And then the last part is that you Kitchener stitch together this side and this side. So this is hollow in here. I don't know if you can tell, but it's hollow in here. So you Kitchener stitch those together, and that I did yesterday. And that whole day I was like, okay, this bag is definitely going to be finished by 9 p.m. and then I'll move it over to another project, and that will give me enough hours before midnight when I should go to bed that I'll be able to like really get into that project. And I started, of course this took longer than expected, so I was already behind schedule, but I think I started doing Kitchener stitch 8:30, so I had half an hour to be done in time, and I sewed and sewed and sewed and sewed, and 30 minutes went by in the blink of an eye, and I've barely done anything. And it also takes so long in the beginning because you have like miles of thread that you have to pull through every stitch, and it tangled and it went by so slowly. And I think in the end this was finished at 10. I think maybe 5 minutes before it was 10 o'clock. So it took me an hour more than expected. I feel like all of my projects always take longer than expected, so maybe I should learn. But I did finish it yesterday, which I'm really happy about. And then this morning I've started doing I-cards, which I really like, but I really wanted to have it done in time, which I'm a bit sad I didn't get to that. But I-cards on 2.5mm needles are really slow progress, but I think it's going to look really good once I'm done, and I think this is going to be a great addition to the wedding dress and that outfit. And I'm also using the same yarn that I used for my wedding dress. This is alpaca følgetråd and Synnedrakt sisu, and I'm almost through my second skein of the Synnedrakt sisu, and I'm starting to near the end of the alpaca følgetråd as well. I'm really happy I can use more projects for my wedding day to like stash bust and use up the leftovers after my wedding dress. So that's it for the honey bucket bag, which has definitely been one of the projects I worked on the most this week. And then my second active project that I've actually been working on is not knitting. It's something new to me, or I have crocheted before but never anything like this, and I don't know where I got the idea either. Just one day I got the idea, and once I get an idea I think is a good idea, I cannot leave that idea behind. I cannot stop myself. So what I've started to do is to crochet flowers. Hopefully I think I will end up thinking this looked good enough to be my wedding bouquet. I think that would be really fun to have that as a part of my wedding day, as I've already made my wedding dress and the purse, and a lot of the stuff is handmade, so it would also be fun to make a handmade bouquet. And from the ones I've seen on Pinterest, I think they look so good. And another thing that really sells the idea to me is that these flowers will never go bad. So if I make a bouquet I'm happy with, I'll have that for the rest of my life, which I think is amazing. So that's what I've started doing. I have used a bit of different yarn. I have gotten some yarn, full honesty. I am trying to stash bust, but I'm not super strict, so I have gotten more yarn this week, and I've used some scraps. This was a scrap I had in my stash that I have now used up completely. This is also from my stash, and the greens are from my stash, but all of the yarn for this flower here I've gotten new. So I think I can just show you one flower at a time. This is the first flower, or I made two of these. This is the first flower I made. I don't know the name of any flowers in English, and I also don't know if they're actually accurate, but this is the first flower I made. Just a really simple flower made by doing, what's it called? Double crochets. Increases, so it bunches up. That was really simple. One also has gotten leaves. I have leaves for the other one, but I haven't gotten that far. And I've just bunched them up and hot glued them on. I really like that about crochet, because it seems like most patterns just tell you to hot glue everything together instead of sewing, and I'm a big fan. So these were the two first I made, and I'm really happy I started here, because even though I have crocheted before, I've never crocheted flowers. I have never really followed patterns, and definitely not English patterns, so it was a learning curve, and I'm happy I started with something really simple. And then I've also gotten just, I don't know what you would call it, flower sticks, I think. Just small wooden things like this, so I can wrap yarn around and make it look like a stem. And I've actually gotten quite a few supplies, because I did not have a hot glue gun, so I've gotten that. I've gotten those wooden things. I've gotten some wire to make parts of some stems. but this is where I started, and this most of this I did before I got most of the supplies, and I'm really happy with the starting point. And then the next thing I did, or I started little bit on the rose next, but that took so long to finish, so the next thing I finished was this, which is in a bit of a different green than the first ones. I'm trying to do a few different colors. I don't know if you can see. I think this might be a bit bright, but I hope when it all comes together that it will even out. But this was the next thing I did. I made these little, I don't know what you would call it, little flower buds, which was really fun to crochet. They went by really quickly, and this is actually just 1/3 of all of the flower buds I made, because the flower buds were so easy to make that I made enough to make 3 flowers. But then when it came to the actual, what would you call it, assembly, when I was supposed to actually like put the flowers together, I realized that that was the part for this flower that took forever. So wrapping the yarn around every single one of them. For this I've used that wire, so this can move a bit more, which I really like, the like element that adds a bit more like liveliness to it. But getting all of the flowers on, getting them together and on the stem, I think after crocheting before I had a finished flower, I think that part took me 2 hours. So I have everything I need already finished crocheted. I'm finished crocheting everything I need to make 2 more like this, but I haven't gotten around to it yet because it takes so long to actually put together. But hopefully I'll get to do that soon, because it does really add a lot when it's in here. And then the last thing I finished, which I finished really late last night, it was honestly early this morning because it took so long, and I just kept going because I didn't think it was going to take so long, and then it had already taken so long, so I thought, okay, now I'll just finish it, I guess. And that's also definitely the thing I'm the most happy about, I think looks the best, and that is my rose. And for this, I don't know if it really matters what yarn I've used, because I think you can use whatever yarn, but for these ones, the white is Merino Extra Fine and the stem is Drops Charisma. And here, let's see, for this one, the stem is Drops Baby Merino, and the white and dark blue of these are Lerke. I don't know if it's Dalegarn or what the brand is, but that's Lerke. And then this one here, I can't remember the light blue one, but that's double-stranded. It's not Line, it's Sandnesgarn Mandarin Petite. That's the light blue one. So all of those yarns are new to me, and I've also found that this is really fun and great way really to try out new yarns, because even though it's not knitting, I can kind of get the feel of how it feels in my hands, how the yarn holds up, how I like working with it, and just working with new yarns has been really fun. And then back to this one, this is also Merino Extra Fine, and then this is also Charisma. And I followed a pattern on YouTube. I can probably link to that in the description to make this rose and these leaves. This is definitely the most challenging thing I've crocheted so far, but the assembly wasn't that hard, which was really nice. It took super long to make all of the parts, because first you make 4 small petals, then you make 4 medium ones, and then you make 5 big ones, which takes forever, and I also ran out of yarn in the end, so one of these small petals has a different color in the middle of it, but luckily you can't see, so it was a lot of back and forth. And then you have to make the leaves, which actually have wire in them, so you can shape them, which I really like, and I also really like how they look. I'm really glad I took the time, because every part of me wanted to skip it. And then the last thing I made was this underneath part. I have no idea what the name of any of this is in English, but this part here, and then I twisted the green yarn around to make the stem. So it was a lot of different parts to do and a lot of assembly, but in the end I think it's really worth it. This blue is I like bluer blue than the blue I have for my wedding dress, so I'm also going to make more roses like this in lighter blues, like almost grey, almost white blues, to kind of blend everything together to match the vibe of the wedding dress. But all the way up until I had finished this rose, I was really unsure about this whole project. Really, I did not know if it was a project I was really going to go through with, if I really wanted to spend more time doing it, because I did not know if I would actually like the look. But ever since I added this is also big, so it added a lot more body to it. It added some more color because the other two big ones were white before. The leaves added a lot. Ever since I added that, I am a lot more happy with it. So now I am pretty much 100% certain that this is something I want to do. But I also very much need this to be my last good idea before the wedding, because I have enough plans. I cannot afford to make any more. I think luckily this bouquet and crochet, it hasn't taken me that long. I think I'm on day 4 or 5 of making these, and I've already made 4 finished flowers, so I should be good. But can't add any more projects because I still have a lot of knit projects to go. I have a few flowers to go, so do not allow me to get any more good ideas. This has to be my last one, but I'm really happy with this one as my last good idea. I think it is a really fun project and a really fun thing to learn how to do. I've already had friends telling me that they want this for their next birthday or Christmas gift, to get some flowers, and I think if I end up happy with this, which given how it looks now, I think I will, it will be amazing to be able to keep this for the rest of my life in the exact same condition. So I am just really excited about that. But between the crocheting, which has taken some time to learn and just taking a lot of time, and then also the honey bucket bag, which is in brooch, so that has also taken really long. I haven't been able to work on any other of my active projects, but I have actually been able to finish some, because as I said, we're leaving tomorrow, and one of the people we're visiting tomorrow, that's part of the reason why we're leaving, is friends of ours that just had a baby, and I've been making a baby gift for them. And previous to this, and I'm missing one part of it that I'll have to grab after this, but last week I think I made 2 Stormy weather hats by Strikkesoffe, one for the big sister and one for the new little guy, and that was the start to the baby gift. And then I had also started working on Willums overalls by Petiteknit last week, and these flew by because last week I had a lot of issues actually falling asleep, so I just would stay up knitting instead of laying in bed not falling asleep. So these flew by. The Stormy weather hats are in, I think, size 3 months and also size 2 years, and this is in 2 to 4 months. I can never remember what the yarn is called. I think it's called Superfine Merino Wool from Knit at Home. In this blue color, I really enjoy making Willums overalls. Really enjoyed this one as well. And as you maybe can see, not only have I finished knitting it, but I've woven in all of the ends, and I've even done buttons, which I'm really proud of myself for having done, because I procrastinate really easily. So felt really nice to have that done, so I won't have to stress about that tomorrow. So here it is, just a quick little cute set of pants. We asked what they wanted the most, and what they wanted the most was a balaclava really, but I really struggled with just giving one thing when I give a baby gift, so I go a bit overboard a lot of the time. I don't think I did this time really, but I also wanted to throw in a few of the knit pieces that I think are the most functional and that we use like every day, or that we did use every day when we had babies, and the Stormy weather hats are definitely that, and also the Willums overalls, one of my favorite knits for a baby. So I had to give them that as well. And then we finally got to the balaclava part, and originally I had planned to do another balaclava, the olive ribbed balaclava, I think, from Knitting for Olive, but that seemed like it would take a lot of time, and I found another pattern that would work better and that fit some yarn I had that I really wanted to get out of my stash, because if not for this I don't know what else I would have used it for. So I knit this balaclava. I really struggle to remember what it's called. I think it's called Fluffy Balaclava maybe. I think it's by Jord.clothing. I'm a bit unsure, I'll have to fact check this and put it on screen, but I made this. This is in size 3 to 6 months, and I used some leftover Synnedrakt kos I have found in my living room. I just found a random skein and a half, so I decided to use that to make this. It has a really like cute pointed tip to the hat, and let's see if you can see. So this is the balaclava. It looks a lot like a hood because of this pointed part here. I hope the face opening is big enough but also small enough, and then you do some increases here for the shoulders, and then you make the front and back panel. So hopefully this will be a both great balaclava and great for the like neck and chest area to help that stay warm. And it was also a really quick knit. I think it was worked on 5mm needles, so it flew by, which was definitely what I needed. This was also, I also made the choice to switch to making this because I realized that in between like the baby knits and wedding accessories, and also I need to finish the wedding dress, in between everything and also going away, so losing a bit of knitting time, I need to make some better choices so things will be finished more quickly. Really happy with this. I don't feel like I made something like ugly and not functional just to save time. I think this is almost a better choice. I think this, first of all, is really cute, and I think it will keep them really nice and warm. I also think kos is a great yarn to stay warm in, and this neck part here I think is almost better. It's shaped really nicely, and yeah, I think it will be great. I have not washed and blocked this, I don't have the time, but I have again woven in all of the ends. So that's balaclava I made, and then I have made one more thing, but that has gotten lost in the transfer, so I'll have to go see if I can find that. Here is the last thing I made. This is an Ankers blouse in the size 1 to 3 months that I made in merino wool from Nille, I think it was, in grey. I just wanted, since I made pants, I also wanted to make a sweater, and I think this sweater is really nice because not only is it a really nice basic, it's also quite quick to knit. It's thin, which I think is really nice in winter because you can both use it when you're going out, if you just put on like sweater over or a jacket over this, but it's also thin enough that you can wear it inside. So I thought this was a good idea and that you could probably get a lot of use out of this. So here it is. I love the anchor pattern, and for this as well I've sewn in the button, I've done all the ends. I'm really happy with that. And yeah, I think I finished this yesterday or the day before. This took a bit longer than expected, and I was almost a bit stressed about having it done in time because I've been working on so much at the same time as this, but I did finish it in time. And I've also tried to make everything in about the same size. So the Stormy weather hat is 3 months, and that can be used at the same size as the time as the Willums, which is 2 to 4 months, and this is 1 to 3 months. So they should all be able to be worn together. And then the Balaclava is a bit bigger in 3 to 6 months. I've also tried to make sizes that would fit now while it's winter, instead of, often I like to make like bigger sizes, bigger than 6 months, because you will be able to wear them longer, but that will also land in the middle of summer. So this time I went for making smaller sizes, which I hope they'll be able to get good use out of. But that is it for my finished projects and it for my current projects as well. I feel like I've done a lot of knitting and crocheting and creative work this week, but I don't, there's not a lot to say about it because it's just been really concentrated, and even though I've been knitting on hours, for hours, it's been on the honey bucket bag, so it's not super visible, but I am really happy with the amount of progress I made this week, and I feel, even though I also had the idea for the bouquet this week, I feel a lot better about actually being able to meet my deadlines. I still think a lot comes down to how much I'll have the time to do today before we leave. And maybe how much I'll be able to do while we're gone. I don't think that will be a lot, but I think I have a good starting point now. It's less than 40 days until the wedding though, so I need to gear up and actually focus on the right projects. But yeah, I'm really happy with my progress, and I would also love, if you're a crocheter, I would love tips. I think the crocheting needle I have now, or what it's called, the hook, isn't very good. So if you have like good hook suggestions or pattern suggestions for flowers, if you've made flowers and have suggestions, just anything, let me know. I would love to hear suggestions because it's been a while since I crocheted last and I've never done flowers. But yeah, I think that is everything I have this week. It's a bit of a shorter episode, I think, but that is everything I have. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please leave a like and a comment. That means the absolute world to me. And if you want to see more from me, please subscribe. Bye!